Well, it's just about the top of the hour, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. I know how busy everybody is. I appreciate your joining us today. And hopefully at the end of this session, you'll get a little bit more information about the Research Symposium, and we'll be able to answer your questions. So I'm Dr. Peggy Sundstrom, and I'm with the PhD program in Organizational Development and Leadership. And my colleagues that are pictured on the slide here have been working with me on this information session and also to coordinate our research symposium for this year. So what we would like to do for you today is just go over a little bit of background, but first let's start with some introductions. If you want to just go into the chat, put your name, your program, and the degree you're working on. And if you have a research topic that's of interest to you, go ahead and put that down too, so we can get to know a little bit about you. We'll open up to questions at the end. So for right now, it would be great if it looks like everybody's on mute, perfect, and then we'll open it up for questions as we go on. What we would like to do today is just give you a little bit of background about the Research Symposium, tell you about the kinds of presentations we're looking for and what formats those are available. We have a presentation on what's in it for you, which is sort of like, well, why would you want to do this? What are the potential benefits to you? We'll talk about how to turn some of your ideas actually into a research proposal, and then introduce you to the resources that we have, which are available to help you in this effort. And of course, some questions at the end, so we can help you get anything you want to know, everything you wanted to know about the Research Symposium, you may ask. So let's just jump right into this. So this is our 4th annual Research Symposium, and I'm really proud to say that this symposium has grown from a small idea of, hey, maybe we ought to have a way of allowing some of our students to showcase the research that they've been doing through their programs. And it started out with a small group of just doctoral students who were describing the research that they were doing as part of their dissertation or their ADP. But some wise people said, hey, let's expand that. We have students at all levels in our university who are doing things of interest and who are either working on research projects or have interest in research. So our intent has evolved to support student research and student research ideas at all levels in the university. And so last year we had students at the bachelor's level, at the master's level, the doctoral level. So it was really great to see that students at all different levels are joining the Research Symposium. And in fact, this is a very student-friendly and alumni-friendly platform. So we attempt to create a platform for you to present your research where you feel strongly supported and have resources that you need so that you can try out a presentation of research. Many of you have given presentations for your work responsibilities, and we understand that. But presenting research is a little bit different, and a research symposium really is an academic setting. But we're it's like family friendly. We're student friendly. So we make this we try to take the stress out of doing what for you might be your first presentation on your own research or your own research ideas. And in fact, that bullet point there about coaching, indeed, if you're accepted as a presenter for the Research Symposium, we'll match you up with a faculty mentor who will help you with your presentation skills and to put your presentation together. Now, some of you are whizzes, and that's perfectly great. So if you don't need a lot of help, no problem. But we always offer that mentoring and that coaching so that somebody can say, here's some ideas about how to do this. And our faculty have been giving presentations for years and years, so they're very experienced at that. What would be wonderful is if you hopscotched from a research symposium presentation to a presentation at a professional conference. And we would love to see our students presenting and have that UAGC name at professional conferences. It's great for you. It's great for your career. It's resume building. These are really strong reasons. And the last reason, maybe the favorite one for me on this list is the Research Symposium is a chance for us to brag about student research. So the UAGC community is invited to the Research Symposium, and we hear every year, wow, look what our students are doing. That's so impressive. It's really terrific to have a chance to highlight that, and it gives everybody a great feeling, and both the presenters and the audience that gets to view your presentations. So let's talk just a little bit about the kinds of presentations that we're looking for. The first is a pretty broad category, and many students, particularly at the bachelor's level and master's level, you've been doing research on a variety of topics. You may have had a capstone class or some kind of a practicum experience where you've really put together some strong learning. You may have done some research papers where you've really have taken a deep dive into the literature, and you know a whole lot about a topic, and you could present it as interest in a particular research area, or even as proposed research. Proposed research is a category that many of our doctoral students jump onto, particularly if they are at the point in their dissertation or applied doctoral project where they have completed a research proposal, but they haven't yet completed the research itself. So proposed research is sort of that in-between stage from an idea to a proposal. Completed research, and maybe Dr. Willis, as I see, is one of our alums who's already completed a research study and would present the findings from a research study. So this is a pretty broad spectrum. We can work with you around almost any of these categories and these ideas in terms of what you might be interested in presenting. We also have two types of presentation formats, and we intentionally do this because some of our students are more comfortable not doing something live. And so we have what we call an e-poster, which is a pre-recorded format, usually accompanied by PowerPoint slides, just like I'm doing right now, but pre-recorded, and your faculty coach can help you with that. So if you get to a certain point and you stumble over your work, you can stop and start again, right? So you can do this in a little bit, you can pre-record it. So for some people who are anxious about public presentations, that's a great way to present. And trust me, 10 minutes, it's a long time to talk. You can cover an awful lot in an e-poster 10-minute. The live Zoom presentations are scheduled for 30 minutes, about 20 to 25 minutes for the live presentation on Zoom, just like I'm talking to you right now with a live audience. And at the end, we have the audience, we ask the audience members to ask questions for the presenter. These sessions are moderated by your faculty mentor, so that person will introduce you, help you manage the chat function and some of the questions and that sort of thing, if that's useful to you. So two different kinds of formats, faculty coaching for both types of presentations. So to make you fully comfortable with what you're presenting, and the opportunity to really try something different. And we would love for you to try something different. If you haven't had a chance to do it yet, then absolutely try it. So the question is, and it's interesting that I get emails from students that say, well, I think I want to do this, but I don't know. Do you think I ought to do this? Well, right now we have Professor Bill Davis, who's our marketing guru, and he's going to give us a little overview of what's in it for you. Why would you want to do this? So Bill, I'll ask you to take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peggy. First of all, I applaud you being here. I applaud you, listening to everything that's going to be happening here, what's all involved, because believe me, this is a lot of fun and it's productive. And you're going to walk away with just such a feeling of accomplishment when you do this. But let me just tell you what's in it for you. WIFM, the most listened to radio station ever. What's in it for me? People buy benefits, right? And we want to know, okay, how do I become better from something like this? What does this do to me? How does it add value? Value is nothing but what things we find desirable and meaningful. Boy, what a great, fantastic way to pay it forward, to take your knowledge, to take your expertise and to share, to make people better. Lifelong learning is fun. You're learning, you're putting it out there. This is you. So you get an opportunity to pay it forward. Next, you get to present at a major university event. The University of Arizona Global Campus Research Symposium is first class. And to me, in my working career, when I was going to school, I went to St. Ambrose University, and I always took advantage of opportunities to present. And many times, they'd feature me. They put me in a little pamphlet, they say Bill presented or whatever. To me, I took that right up to my supervisors, my vice president, and I said, boy, this was fun. They said, what'd you learn? And I had that dialogue. But to me, this is a great way to practice, to present, to hone your skills at a major university event. The personal and professional fulfillment you will feel. When you work hard at something and you invest time, and then you get through it all, you stay in it, right? And all of a sudden you're done. Boy, isn't that a good feeling when you go, I did this. And what you're going to have out of something like this is a link to this site where all the videos are domiciled and your presentation is domiciled. And you know what you can do with that? Peggy talked about, our opportunity to brag. Well, I'll even add to that and I'll say it's our opportunity to amplify you. It's our opportunity for you to amplify yourself. For example, if you're talking to someone in your profession and you say, hey, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I work here. I've accomplished this. Hey, I'd like to show you something. Here's something I just did on a topic at the University of Arizona Global Campus Research Symposium. So that's an opportunity to really kind of show your accomplishments. It really is a major academic accomplishment to me to present your research, to present something you've done, in a classroom. I've got a student here, Melissa, welcome. Melissa is in one of my courses right now, and she did a fantastic presentation on marketing. And it was a marketing technique. And I says, you really should look at participating in the research symposium. What you have done here is excellent. She liked it. We talked a couple days ago. Here she is. Melissa, thank you for being here. But Melissa and everyone, this is an opportunity for you to accomplish something really significant to have on your CV, your resume, et cetera. What else does it do? It builds your knowledge, experience, and capacity, right? You're already building knowledge. In my professional career, what I would always, back in my past career with Pepsi, what I would always tell my teams was, you need experience, capacity, and knowledge. On the job, through the job, you need to build knowledge on the job, off the job, academic knowledge, books, things you do, but expand your capacity. This will expand your capacity. You are going to get networking opportunities, faculty student engagement. I can't wait to engage the participants that are going to be assigned to me. I've done a lot of work in the e-poster session. I absolutely loved it. I love seeing student progress. I love seeing people take that next step and accomplish something. And to be honest with you, I did very little other than a little guidance. I learned from the presenters. I said, wow, you really nailed this. And I gave them some tips and different things to say, you could reinforce this, you could make this stronger this way. They took it and they ran and they were done and they did a fantastic job. So you get to network with your coaches, with everybody in this room. You're all part of a community here that's participating in the research symposium. You improve your skills, presentation skills, communication skills. As you progress in your careers and where you're at right now, you know how important communication is, right? So this is another way to practice, right? And now you become better. But the faculty coaching, you're going to build some relationships. I've built a lot of relationships with a lot of students in my network, and we still talk today, even after their education is ended. And it's such a pleasure to see them succeed. So think about all these benefits, bundle them all together. That's value. Okay, so thank you for being here, Peggy. I hope I did a good job communicating the value and what's in it for everyone participating.
That's great. And I must tell you, Bill Davis is one of those people that brings a smile to my face every time I listen to him, because he reminds me that we are more than just ourselves and we're part of this larger networked world. And this is one of those great opportunities for us as faculty. I mean, this is really fun for us to get to work with students and alums to present something, because it takes what it takes our passion and allows us to share our passion with you. So, so thank you, Bill. This next part of the presentation I love. This is Dr. Clifford, who's going to be talking to you a little bit about, okay, so you have an idea. What do you do with this idea? Because how do you make it, how do you turn it into a proposal? So Clifford, please take it away.
Yes, I'm delighted to be here, everyone. And I appreciate the challenge of going after Bill. I'll do my best to keep that enthusiasm level that he brings to our group alive and well for the next couple of minutes. So I want to begin by talking a little bit about, is this a good fit for you, this opportunity? And a couple questions to think about. Have you written a research paper for a course here at UAGC? If you've had any course that you've taken where you've written something that's left you intrigued or inspired, gosh, I wish I had more time. Time is such a precious commodity to dig a little deeper, to know a little bit more about this topic, but I've done the paper, I have to turn it in. If you're in that place and you have that paper, you're set to go. This is a wonderful opportunity to take that paper to the next level, to share what you've learned with others. It's fantastic. So is it for a capstone project where you did perhaps some original data collection or some sort of analysis? If that's the case, then your project fits category 1, learnings from a research course or capstone practical experience. But perhaps you're an undergraduate thinking, oh, this isn't for me, but you've written a paper that's really inspired you and you'd like to know more, you'd like to explore it further. This is a great opportunity for category 2, proposed research, which would involve taking the paper you've written, essentially, and using it as kind of a literature review to ask, where's the gaps in our understanding? What new questions can I ask that haven't really been answered or addressed yet? How would we go about kind of exploring those questions? That is what the proposed research topic is all about. So next slide, please. So a few tips and thoughts as you embark on this exciting process of preparing a proposal as a prelude to the presentation. Gosh, I got some great alliteration going this early in the morning. So a proposal is all about convincing the reviewers that you should present. And the image I used last time I gave this talk, I really love. It's a Gary Larson cartoon with a whole bunch of penguins out in the rookery. And there's one in the background singing, "I just gotta be me," at the top of his lungs and standing out. And that's really what the goal of the proposal is to do. The reviewers, whether in this proposal for this particular time or 10 years down the line when you're writing another proposal, they read lots of proposals. So how are you going to stand out with the project you're doing? How are you going to sell it as something that's really engaging and exciting to see? Well, a couple of keys to doing that. First is to be professional. Using proper spelling, grammar, etc., layout, so important because it says that you care about what you're doing. It says that, it also says that you're participating as a scholar in an act of scholarship. But at the same time, be engaging, enthusiastic. You don't want your words to all sound wooden and aloof. Make it come alive. Make it interesting. But that's tricky because you also need to keep in mind the following. First, you need a focused theme. You need to make sure that it's pretty clear what you're doing. I love to go for a walk in the woods where I just ramble around, but that's not what you want to do in a presentation proposal. You want to have a clear path that you're going to follow. What are you going to be studying? Where is it all leading? You also align with that. You want to take a few minutes extra to think about your title. The title is really important. For a lot of people and a lot of presentations, the audience decides whether to come to your talk or not based upon the title. Yes, they will sometimes read the title and then the summary, which I'll get to in just a moment. But often they'll only read that title, and that's what they're going to judge whether or not to bother showing up to. So 2 things here that you need to do. First of all, you want to be very clear. If you use vague language in your title, nobody's going to know what you're talking about, and nobody's going to show up. But at the same time, you want to be a little bit intriguing if possible. So again, how do you kind of communicate that interestingness and excitingness of your topic, but keep it clear at the same time? Now, there's 2 important parts to the proposal that I want to distinguish here. the summary and the presentation description. The summary is very concise. 50 words is all you get to capture the essence, distill the essence of what you're going to be talking about. I usually find the best way to do that is to just not worry about it at first. I'll just write something that I think is a good start at my description, usually rather my summary. And usually it'll start out 150 words or something like that. Then the whittling begins. And I find that in the act of getting that summary down to 50 words, I actually leave the process with a clearer sense of what's really important that I'm going to be communicating. So it's actually helpful for me as well as the future potential presenter to have that challenge as part of the proposal writing. Finally, there's the presentation description. Here you're going to be a little bit, not long-winded, but here you're going to have a little more space to expand a bit. And a couple of things you want to make sure to do with this description. First, you want to demonstrate to the reviewers that you know your stuff. I'm a scientist, and science, really all academic pursuits to some extent or another, build on what's gone before, right? So what I'm doing when I'm citing sources is I'm showing that my work is in relation to what others have done before me. And this is really important. For instance, in science, I'm also showing that I know what the current level of understanding of the field is. What do we know and what don't we know? And what is the most recent knowledge that's been put out there? So with citing sources, you don't want to cite 1,000. You want to cite the key ones. Maybe there's a key article that dates back 30 years. It's really important. But maybe there's also something that was published just last year that's right on the crux of where you're going to head with what you're going to do. Those are important to include. You also want to demonstrate that you have a plan for sharing your work with the audience. How are you going to convey the ideas you have in a way that's going to engage, it's going to grab the audience, it's going to leave them with questions? To me, a successful presentation is one where I've got a Q&A session. It's full of questions and ideas. So it becomes a dialogue between me and the audience, rather than just me presenting something and then the next person coming along. So how am I going to do that? How am I going to make that part of my presentation come alive so it becomes a dialogue rather than just simply me presenting? So those are some thoughts. I encourage you to run with them, and I hope you all decide to join us on this exciting journey.
Hey, thank you very much for that. And Dr. Ted Ellis is going to be talking about resources, but I want to just point out that one of the resources that we have on the site is a tip for putting together your proposal and presentation that Dr. Clifford wrote, so you can get even more sage advice for him. But right now, we're just going to show you a couple of screenshots. If you haven't been onto our website, Ted's going to talk about what you can find there and what you can do to actually get yourself going with preparing your proposal. Ted?
Thank you, Peggy. First thing I'd like to say, building on what has been emphasized, is we're so glad you're here. And we just want to underline, this is for you. If you're wondering about that question, we want you to be involved. And when you think about, or when you visit the website, it may be helpful to sort of think of the website as addressing 3 areas. There's a lot of information on the website. There are tabs to click on. But before you, as you approach the website, I want you to think about 3 different areas of emphasis within it. One area on the website is designed to allow you to connect to the symposium. So you'll see there's a submission tab for your proposal. And when you click on that, it has all the details of items you need to input and so forth to actually submit your proposal to the symposium. And over on the right of the first page of the website, there's a registration tab. So when we think about the 3 areas of the website, or 3 areas that are kind of major points of emphasis, one is connecting you to the symposium, and that's going to be through your proposal submission and through your attendance. A second area that the website provides information on is information about the symposium itself. So if you, as has been mentioned today, the submission categories are described in detail. If you want to go back through the website after this session and familiarize yourself with those categories, we invite you to do that. So a second area is just kind of providing content about what is the purpose of this symposium, what is it all about, And then what are the ways you can connect to the symposium? Completed research, proposed research, cumulative learning. And so the categories for proposal submission are detailed on the website. So a second, first area, again, connecting you to the symposium. A second area is telling you about the symposium and about the categories for submission for you to consider. And a third category, very exciting, resources to help you as you approach the symposium, as you work on your proposal. And as Dr. Sundstrom just mentioned, Dr. Blizzard's work available on tips, the tips tab through the resources tab on the home. If you click on resources, it'll lead you to a display of tabs. And if you'll definitely want to review that, the tips for your proposal. There's also a training video, and there are writing resources from the Writing Center. The University of Arizona Global Campus Writing Center has a number of resources that will be very helpful as you consider refinements and elements in your proposal development. Let me just highlight a few of the resources that are available through the link. There are links to the Writing Center through the Writing Center Resources tab. One of the sources that are highlighted is about synthesis. So you'll definitely want to explore that concept and how it fits in what you're doing in terms of approaching literature and so forth. And you don't need to limit yourself to the resources that are listed on the website. You may find once you visit the Writing Center, there are a number of other resources that will assist you as you develop your proposal. In addition, you've heard discussion of e-poster. Well, there's an FAQ tab. Perhaps this is the first time you've heard of an e-poster or you've come across that concept. But there's detail that explains the format, the structure of the e-poster. Encourage you to click on that tab. And again, there's another resource for your proposal has to do with the presentation template, PowerPoint presentation template that's available through that link for you to develop your proposal within or your presentation within. One other item I want to highlight on resources, if you scroll down on that page, there are some additional videos that provide insight and tools on how to refine and develop your proposal. And then we're very enthused to note that there are live session examples and there are e-poster examples from past presentations. So that gives you an insight onto what a finished product might look like. So the resources that are available through the website, just to summarize again, think about it as a way to connect you to the symposium through the submission tab, through the registration tab. There is content that explains what the symposium entails, what are the submission categories as a second point of emphasis. And then there are a number of excellent resources to guide you and assist you as you develop your proposal. So we're so excited that you're here, and please let us know if you have any questions about content within the website. Thank you, Peggy.
Now, thank you very much, Ted. Great resources there. And I need to give a big shout out to our Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. They are partners with the faculty in presenting the research symposium. We could not do this without them. So big shout out to Haley Pessner and her team. Paul Schultz, I think, is on the call. Thank you very much. They make the behind the scenes stuff happen and happen very smoothly. Do note that the proposal due date is February 25th, so you have plenty of time, but don't leave it to the day before, because if you have questions, we want you to reach out to us and ask us to give you a hand with it. So just some important dates for you to remember. The symposium itself, April 19th through 21st, those proposals due on February 25th. We'll review the proposals and we'll let you know no later than March 14th if we've accepted your proposal, and we'll match you up with your faculty mentor at that time. So you'll have a little bit more than a month to get things ready for a live presentation and about a month to get an e-poster together. And again, resources from your faculty will help you do that. Couple websites that are important for you over on the left-hand side. And this would have been in the advertisements and the banner ads that you saw in your classrooms. But if you have any questions, you can reach out to Research Symposium at uagc.edu. You can email me if you have a question. In fact, I have a meeting set up on Monday with a student who attended our session on Tuesday who had some questions, and I'm just going to walk her through some ideas of how she can put her presentation together. So at this point, thank you very much to our faculty presenters. I'd like to open it up to questions. So I can't see all of you at the same, well, wait a minute, maybe I can. Just please go ahead, and if you have a question, take yourself off mute and join and ask your question, and we will be more than happy to answer it. Who's first? Oh, there's got to be one or two questions.
Hello, Miss Peggy. My name is Lily Stiles, and I have a question regarding, I was under the impression that the submission date was earlier, and so I've already submitted my proposal. So do we receive confirmation that it was actually received, or is it something that I'm going to need to resubmit?
No, you don't need to resubmit it. In fact, we have, I think right now we have about 12 proposals already.
Okay.
So I would imagine yours is in there.
All right,
So that's terrific. Thank you for being early.
Thank you.
I have a quick question as well.
Yes, hi, Mike.
Yeah, you mentioned you had 12 already. What's the audience number like in past symposiums, and how many presenters usually are there each year?
That's a great question. So we have planned slots right now for about 18 live presentations. And if we see more really wonderful presentations, I'm going to expand those so that we can accommodate just as many students as possible. The e-posters are a real favorite of a lot of our students. And the e-posters, for those of you who haven't seen these before, we post them up on a website. And so so the audience members can go in and look at those at any particular time. Michael, to your direct question though, about how many people attend a presentation, it kind of depends. To Bill's point, what's your topic? Some of our topics really grab a whole bunch of people, and you could have 40 or 50 people in a Zoom room, and others of them, I would say that somewhere around 20 to 25 is a pretty good live audience. So, but it's open to the UAGC community, students and faculty and staff. So we don't limit how many people can actually participate.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad to see you doing this, Michael, because I know where you are in your research. So this is terrific.
Do you? Yeah, I'm finishing the interviews this week.
Good.
My data. I'm wondering if this is just gonna get in the way of graduation though, because I still have chapter 4 and 5 to do and my final defense. So
yeah. Well, you know what? I totally hear you. But my guess is that you could, you've already done your preliminary oral, so you have that presentation, you can scale that down and then give us a sneak preview of some initial findings. Boop, there's your presentation, my friend.
yeah.
We'll talk. Who else has a question? I saw as you introduced yourself, some of you have some research ideas. That's great.
Dr. Sundstrom, I was just going to say to the initial question, that sounded like a great suggestion. If we can provide confirmation for submission for all those who submit a proposal, if they can get maybe some sort of reply back to say that it's been received.
The website is supposed to do that automatically, Ted. So I'll double check with Haley, but I can certainly, if you have any questions about that, I can most certainly just zap you a note and say that we got your presentation or your proposal. Good idea. Who else has a question for us this morning?
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
This is Sovdeep here. I'm an MBA student for School of Business.
I saw that.
I I wanted to understand, like, if you have, say, topics or theme of the topics that are kind of overlapping between multiple entries, how are you going to address that?
Um, your competition is with yourself when you submit a proposal. So we don't say, oh, we'll take your proposal on global warming and not Taylor's proposal on global warming. We'll take both of your proposals on global warming, because my guess is you're coming at it from different points. We really haven't had an issue where we've had everybody wanting to talk about the same thing, if that's what you're asking. And we don't, in this research symposium, have tracks that you have to fit into, because sometimes when you go to professional conferences, they say, here are the 3 tracks. Where does your presentation fit? Ours is a little bit more potluck, if you want to think about it that way, which is actually pretty interesting, because if you look back at some of the presentations from previous years, they're all over the board. And the idea is not to try to force students into some narrow categories, but say, hey, what interests you? We'll find a way to showcase it. So you won't be competing on a topic basis. Does that make sense? Is that the question you were asking?
Yes, thank you. I think a follow-up to that, if I may, is I was more trying to picturize, like you said, right? Now the audience for the symposium depends on the topics.
Right.
So is there a way that, if you see there's a particular track, now, although it's pretty open, but if there's a track which has multiple speakers speaking about a topic or bringing in their perspective, so is that audience kind of subscribed to that list of topics, maybe from different speakers, or each topic kind of attracts the audience in itself?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. We will publish on the website, on the symposium website, all the presentations that will be taking place. And so somebody could go through and say, ooh, look at this theme on, just to use my example, global warming, impacts of global warming, and if there's 2 or 3 people presenting. Because this is a relatively small symposium, we generally don't have generally don't have that much of an overlap, but the audience may choose to attend any or all of the sessions that they wish to do so. So they're not restricted at all. And we don't overlap. So I don't have to choose between your presentation and another presentation. They will not be occurring at the same time. That's one of the beauties here, is that we schedule each one individually. So if you're speaking, you are the speaker at that particular time on that particular day.
Thank you. That answers all my questions.
Great. Thank you. Francisco.
So if I go back to one of the previous slides, I'm walking out of the master's program in instructional design technology with an intervention. It's got 3 learning outcomes, etc. Does that fit that practicum/capstone criteria presenting on the intervention?
Yes, it sounds like it absolutely would.
And second, okay.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I'm going to put my email address in the chat so that if you had a specific question about your topic or your interest, you're more than welcome to reach out to me after this or as you're putting your proposal together. And I would be happy to discuss it with you, like which category. And the other thing is that when we look at proposals, we often reach out to students and say, hey, we love your proposal. Here's where we think it fits. And sometimes the student will say, I want to do an e-poster, and I'll call them. I go, oh, don't you think you'd like to do a Zoom presentation or vice versa? So we'll work with you around that. But I'll tell you that in previous years, we've had people who have completed a dissertation research and they do a really nice e-poster. That's what they want to do. And we have had students who have proposed research or research interest, and they'll do a really interesting Zoom presentation. So, it really depends on the individual, their comfort level, and what they have to say about the topic.
Which leads me, you mentioned audience, and somebody else just mentioned it also. The intervention as it's designed today, I prep for a specific audience where I thought, okay, these people will care about it or may be interested on it. Okay. However, it's not only for them, because the tools that I'm outlining, the technology survey, it's for a lot of people, especially after the last couple of years when we just had to use video conference for a lot of things, whether 100% online or hybridization, as they call it. So I'm already saying, hey, I prototyped this with this audience, but the use case, it's pretty broad. Would that still meet the criteria in terms of who would it be for? Because people may see it at the beginning and think, is this only for Toastmasters or is this for everyone? Does that make sense?
Yeah, why don't you connect with me offline? Let's chat through it. You can give me some more specifics. I'll be happy to help you find the right kind of category for it.
Okay, thank you, Peggy.
Sure.
Dr. Sundstrom, sorry.
Oh, Peggy's fine. Belinda, I think you had your hand up, yes?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Peggy. My question is, the topic I'm interested in is very much within the psychology field. Just reading what some have submitted, they sound more to be in the business or communication or those types of areas. How does one fit in when we're looking at something that is more psychology driven?
You fit perfectly. Yeah, seriously, look at the scope of the programs we have at UAGC, right? We have a wide variety of programs, and psychology is one of our biggest departments at the university. So absolutely it fits. Sure, if you're over in one of the majors in the Forbes School of Business and Technology, you're going to have more of that sort of focus, but we have a whole lot of people in behavioral sciences and education and health and human services. So absolutely, there's a fit there for any of our students or in any kind of major.
A follow-up question to that, if I may, are there? I know the direction because it ties into the advocacy and grant writing work that I want to do, is looking at sexually abused and neglected children, which is something I would want to present on. Is there any topics you would want people to stay away from because of potential of emotional charge or uncomfortability or any of those type of factors?
I think your faculty mentor could work with you about how to present information in a way that's both truthful about what you want to do, but also respectful of audience member potential reaction to it. I see Dr. Bao nodding her head. Wouldn't you agree, Ming-Jian, that
absolutely. I'm nodding here because first, I believe everybody here, we enjoy the beauty of diverse disciplines. And then the second part, that is, this is also a growth of all the students here and maybe our alumni as well. That is how to do a research topic, but at the same time consider what will be a professional way to deliver this topic to larger audience. Not necessarily those people joining us in the Zoom setting, those live sessions or e-posts may be shared widely after the research symposium with larger audience. So this is, again, a learning experience, which we all appreciate. We are learning together with you guys.
So don't shy away from that. Just work with your faculty coach to, if you have any questions about that. Your faculty coach, by the way, one of the things we ask faculty coaches to do is to make you look really good, make sure that the way you're presenting yourself is the best possible, but also to kind of look at some of those issues. And we have some students, for example, who have to be coached to talk less, right? And some to talk more. So your faculty coach will work with you just to help you do the best possible presentation around your topic and in the modality that you're assigned. So not to worry about that. You'll get some really great advice.
If I may ask one more question, please, Miss Peggy. I noticed on your first slide that showed all your different people that are part of this team, that Kristen Ballard, the one who I understand is flying as part of the behavioral sciences.
Mhm.
Is it possible for me to get her email and be able to reach out to her, as that is part of my field of study in psychology and behavioral sciences?
I think that that's perfectly appropriate. If she were here, she would say that too. So I will type her email address in the chat and you can pick that up. In fact, any of those of us who are on the phone call, the way you reach us is our first name, period, last name at uagc.edu. That's kind of the standard administrative email address for the faculty who are here. So Kristen's would be her first name, KRISTIN Ballard, BALLARD at uagc.edu. And just let her know you came to one of the sessions and you wanted to follow up with some questions.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Miss Peggy.
Oh, you're very welcome. What other questions do we have?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, so my name's Taylor. I am in the process of completing my ADP, and I was wondering if we can utilize not necessarily the same slides, but very, very similar information that's on our projects already for the presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
In fact, for our doctoral students, because you do have to defend your proposal and then defend your final project, most of you have already had some experience with how do you consolidate that information. Taylor, I would tell you that when I work with doctoral students, I say, okay, all that stuff your committee wanted to know about exactly how you're going to choose your participants and whether or not you're reaching saturation, and leave that out and do the highlights. What's the purpose of your study? How did you do it? What did you find out? This sort of thing. So we do sort of the high level picture without some of the detail that your committee might want.
Okay, cool. And then another question, if that's okay. I was wondering if we choose to do the e-poster, are all those done on a certain day, or how does that work as far as presenting to the audience?
Well, this is what's cool, is that the e-posters are actually live on the Symposium website. So you can go to last year's Symposium website and see all the e-posters. We've put links to some of them on our, on this year's Symposium website, so you can see some of them. But we also then will post the live presentations once we do a little bit of video editing and get them all wrapped up, is those will be posted too. So they live on the Symposium website. Your presentation would be viewable by anybody who, in fact, we post the e-posters on Monday of Symposium week. They're available for people all week and then into perpetuity. So they live. And what's nice about that is if you want to put a link on in your portfolio or on your resume and say, here's an example of the kind of work that I did in a presentation, you can link to that.
Okay, thank you.
Great questions. Any others? We will actually be posting this Zoom call, this information session on the website. So if there's something you missed or you want to go back, you're more than welcome to do that. But go to the Symposium website. That link is in all those ads, all those banner ads that are in your classrooms. You can connect up, find those resources that Dr. Ellis was talking about, and submit your proposal. So, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any more questions. We're here to help you, and we're absolutely committed to your success and you're having fun doing this. All right, colleagues, anything else, or shall we say goodbye and good morning? Have a wonderful day, everybody, and we hope to, Clifford, was that just a goodbye? Yes. That was a goodbye. Thank you very much. And we'll see you soon. Please propose.